Imperialism is building an empire by founding colonies and conquering other nations. All of the New World is a product of imperialism. European nations came over in the 1500s claiming the land for France, Spain, and England. The United States used to be colonies and subjects of Great Britain. Now between 1870 and 1914, European countries take control of parts of Africa and of Asia. And now the United States wants in on this carving of the world action. It is a while before the United States finds itself on even ground with Europe and has the manpower and resources to jump in on the imperial enterprise. There are four main reasons for America to become imperialistic. 1 was their desire for more resources. 2, to spread democracy and their religion. 3, expand military power. And 4, it is a big source of national pride, also called nationalism. The United States has 2 states that can easily be overlooked or forgotten when you look at a US map. They are not connected to the other 48 states here. Instead, they are put in little boxes in the corner of any US map. They are Alaska and Hawaii. Let's talk Alaska and bundle up. It's gonna get really cold here. Now, during the 18th century, the Russian Empire expanded into North America, settling along the Alaskan Pacific coast. But throughout the next century, the Tsar's government lost interest in supporting the movement. The Russian Empire offered the territory to the United States during James Buchanan's presidency, but, the Civil War broke out and it kind of hindered the Alaska negotiations. The US was kind of busy. Talks resumed after the Civil War under President Andrew Johnson and Secretary of State William H. Seward. Seward was one of the guys John Wilkes Booth's co-conspirators tried to take out the night Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Remember, he was stabbed in the face, but his kids fought off his attacker and he lived. And he goes on to buy Alaska. Seward was an expansionist and eager to gain territory and reached a deal with Russia in 1867. The US brought Russia for $7 million. Which breaks down to about 2 pennies an acre. Alaska now belonged to the states, but its purchase was mocked in Congress and nearly didn't pass the Senate. Alaska's inclusion as a state took decades. Up till the late 19th century, the territory was mocked as Seward's Folly, or Seward's Icebox, or the Polar Bear Garden. But the $7 million purchase became more than warranted when gold was discovered in the late 1890s. Some 100,000 folks migrated north during the Klondike Rush. Soon, Alaska was recognized for its abundant natural resources, and its location will be very handy during World War II when the US was at war with Japan. But it isn't till January 3rd, 1959, about a century after the United States brought the land, Alaska became the 49th state and the largest state in the Union. This hurt Texas' ego a bit, but Alaska is big. If Alaska was a country, it would be the 18th largest country in the world. The United States acquired other territories over the years that never became states. In 1895, Cuba cries out for independence from Spain. 200,000 Cubans will die in the revolt and in Spanish concentration camps. The US gets involved and sends the US battleship Maine to Havana, Cuba. The Maine explodes, killing 260 American sailors. It is unclear how it blew up, if it was an accident or if it was an act of war. Most Americans are going to blame Spain, but Spain denies it. The rally cry in America was, "Remember the Maine," and to heck with Spain. Except they didn't say heck. Spain declared war on the United States, and America wins the war fairly easily despite being poorly prepared when war began. Most Americans will die of tropical diseases, not of battle wounds. In 1895, Spain surrendered, and in the negotiations, the United States gains the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico from Spain. Cuba becomes an independent nation, but American help came at a cost for them. They had to agree to the Platt Amendment, which declared that the United States has final say-so on all Cuban affairs. The U.S. still maintains a large naval base and the infamous prison of Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. There is one state that was added to the other 49. The history of its acquisition sits in stark contrast to the tropical paradise vibe. This was the first time America ever took over a sovereign nation. Hawaii was a kingdom. Christian missionaries were the first to come around the year 1820. At first, this is a great thing for the island kingdom. It goes from having no written language and inflicted with the disease of leprosy. The missionaries will start trade, they built schools, came up with a written language, cured diseases, and showed how sugarcane would grow their economy. In 1898, Queen Liliuokalani sits on the Hawaiian throne. She was the first woman and only woman to rule as queen of the kingdom when the United States came in and annexed Hawaii. U.S. Marines marched through downtown Honolulu. They had a cannon and machine guns. Within 48 hours, the Kingdom of Hawaii had been overthrown, and a provisional government led by U.S. businessmen was put in charge. It was essentially a bloodless coup. Liliuokalani goes to the States to petition for her people, and President Grover Cleveland wants to help reinstate her, but Congress would not allow it. Queen Liliuokalani goes back to Hawaii and is put under house arrest until she agrees to give up her throne. She was locked in a bedroom suite and kept captive for months. During this time, she composes hymns. One was the famous Aloha Oi, which is still today the best-known Hawaiian song. The song captures the pain and sorrow of a lost Hawaiian kingdom. Hawaii will later become a state in 1959, the same year as Alaska. In 1993, the U.S. government issued a formal apology, acknowledging that the overthrow of Queen Liliuokalani had been illegal.
Aloha, oi, aloha, oi, e ke ona noho I ka lipo, a fond embrace, a hoia until